Now this video tutorial will teach you how to make these carrot Easter eggs. First, let's crochet its main body, then crochet the leaves on it. Finally, assemble them together. Now in this video, we'll teach you how to crochet the main body of these Easter eggs. First, make a magic ring. Wrap the yarn around your little finger, then bring it to your index finger. Make a loop around your middle finger. Pinch where the lines cross with your thumb and the middle finger. Instead of hooking to the loop on your middle finger, hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There's one loop on the hook. Yarn around the hook. Put your steel loop on the hook. The magic ring is done. Now let's start making round 1. In round 1, we need to work 6 single crochets. The first single crochet, instead of hooking to loop on your middle finger, hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn around the hook and put your both loops on the hook. A single crochet is done. Let's zoom in. The V shape is a stitch. Place a marker on the both strands of the V. There's where we insert a hook to start the next round. The second single crochet, instead of hooking to loop on your middle finger, hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn around the hook and put your loops on the hook. The second single crochet is done. The third one, instead of hooking to loop on your middle finger, hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn around the hook and put your both loops on the hook. 3 single crochets are done. Continue work remaining 3 single crochets in the same way. The 4th single crochet. The 5th single crochet. The 6th single crochet. Six single crochets are done. Now let's see it. The V shape is a stitch. Let's count the number of stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 single crochets. Now put your tail to close the ring. Put your hard until it can't be pulled. We need to make slip stitches and chains to join the round. Now work slip stitch and mark the stitch to join the circle together. Remove the marker. Insert a hook to the stitch. Hide the yarn tail by putting it on top of the hook. Hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Hook the first loop and pull it through the second loop. Put the yarn hard. A slip stitch is done. Round 1 is finished. Now let's start making round 2. First, work a chain. yarn around the hook and put your steel loop on the hook. Tight it. A chain is done. The slip stitch and chain doesn't count as stitch. In round 2, we need to work 6 increases. An increase means working 2 crochets in the same stitch. The first increase, instead of hooking the first stitch, work a crochet first. A crochet is done, place a marker on the first stitch. And remember to do that on the first stitch of every round. Then instead of hook the same stitch and work another crochet. An increase is done. The second increase, instead of hooking the next stitch, work a crochet first. A crochet is done. Then work another crochet in the same stitch. The second increase is done. The third increase. Instead of hook the next stitch, work a crochet first. A crochet is done. Then work another crochet in the same stitch. The third increase is done. Continue work remaining 3 increases in the same way. The fourth increase. The 5th increase. The 6th increase. Six increases are done. Now work slip stitch in the marked stitch, join the circle together. Instead of hooking the stitch, hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Hook the first loop and pull it through a second loop. Pull the yarn hard. A slip stitch is done. Round 2 is finished. Now let's start making round 3. First, work a chain. Yarn around the hook and put your steel loop on the hook. Put your yarn hard. A chain is done. In round 3, we need to repeat a set of 1 crochet, 1 increase for 6 times. The first set, first work 3 crochets. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first crochet. The first crochet is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Then work an increase. An increase means working 2 crochets in the same stitch. An increase is done. The first set is done. The second set, first work a crochet. Then work an increase. The second set is done. The third set, first work a crochet. Then work an increase. Three sets are done. Continue work remaining 3 sets in the same way. The fourth set. The 5th set. The 6th set. 6 sets are done. Now work slip stitch in the marked stitch, join the circle together. A slip stitch is done, round 3 is finished. Now let's start making round 4. First work a chain. In round 4, first work a single shade. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single shade. The first single shade is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work an increase. An increase means working 2 single shades in the same stitch. An increase is done. In round 4, we need to repeat a set of 2 single shades, 1 increase for 5 times. The first set, first work 2 single shades. Work the first single shade. The second single shade. 2 single shades are done, then work an increase. An increase is done. The first set is done. The second set, work 2 single shades. Two single shades are done, then work an increase. An increase is done. The second set is done. Continue work remaining 3 sets in the same way. We need to work 5 sets in total. We'll skip the repeated parts. 5 sets are done. Now work single shade. A single shade is done. Now work slip stitch in the marked stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 4 is finished. Now let's start making round 5. First work a chain. In round 5, we need to work 24 single shades. That is to work 1 single shade in every stitch. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single shade. The first single shade is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work the second single shade. The second single shade is done, the third single shade. The fourth single shade. 4 single shades are done. Continue work remaining 20 single shades in the same way. We need to work 24 single shades in total. We will skip the repeated parts. 24 single shades are done. Now work a slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 5 is finished. Now let's start making round 6. First work a chain. In round 6, we need to repeat a set of 3 single shades, 1 increase for 6 times. The first set. First work 3 single shades. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single shade. A single shade is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hook the next stitch, work the second single shade. The second single shade is done, the third single shade. 3 single shades are done, then work an increase. An increase means working 2 single shades in the same stitch. The first set is done, the second set. First work 3 single shades. Then work an increase. The second set is done. Continue work remaining 4 sets in the same way. We need to work 6 sets in total. We will skip the repeated parts. 6 sets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 6 is finished. Now let's start making round 7. First, work a chain. In round 7, we need to work 30 single shades. That is to work 1 single shade in every stitch. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single shade. The first single shade is done. Place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work the second single shade. The second single shade is done. The third single shade. The fourth single shade. 4 single shades are done. Continue work remaining 26 single shades in the same way. We need to work 30 single shades in total. We will skip the repeated parts. 30 single shades are done. Now work a slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 7 is finished. Now let's start making round 8. First, work a chain. Now work 2 single shades. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single shade. The first single shade is done. Place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work the second single shade. The second single shade is done. Then work an increase. An increase means working 2 single shades in the same stitch. Now we need to repeat a set of 4 single shades, 1 increase for 5 times. The first set, work 4 single shades. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 single shades are done. Then work an increase. An increase is done. The first set is done. The second set, first work 4 single shades. Then work an increase. The second set is done. Continue work remaining 3 sets in the same way. We need to work 5 sets in total. We'll skip the repeated parts. 5 sets are done. Now work 2 single shades. Two single shades are done. Now work slip stitch and mark the stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 8 is finished. Now let's start making round 9. First, work a chain. In round 9, we need to work 36 single shades. That is to work 1 single shade in every stitch. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single shade. The first single shade is done. Place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work the second single shade. The second single shade is done. The third single shade. The fourth single shade. 4 single shades are done. Continue to work remaining 32 single shades in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 36 single shades are done. Now work slip stitch and mark the stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 9 is finished. Now let's start making round 10. First, work a chain. In round 10, we need to repeat a set of 5 single shades, 1 increase for 6 times. The first set. First, work 5 single shades. Instead of hook the first stitch, work the first single shade. The first single shade is done. Place a marker on the first stitch. and then hook the next stitch, work the second crochet. The second crochet is done. The third crochet. The fourth one. The fifth one. 5 crochets are done, then work an increase. An increase means working 2 crochets in the same stitch. An increase is done, the first set is done, the second set. First work 5 crochets. Five crochets are done, then work an increase. An increase is done, the first set is done. Continue work remaining 4 sets in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 6 sets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 10 is finished. Now let's start making round 11. First, work a chain. In round 11, we need to work 17 crochets by using this sign yarn. And we'll change yarns in the 7th crochet. Stop when there are 2 loops on the hook. And then hook in the first stitch, work the first crochet. The first crochet is done, place a marker on the first stitch. And then hook the next stitch, work the second crochet. The second crochet is done, the third crochet. The fourth crochet. 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 13 crochets in the same way. And we'll change yarns in the last crochets in round 11. Stop when there are 2 loops on the hook. The 17th crochet, stop when there are 2 loops on the hook. Now we'll change yarns. Wrap the orange yarn around your left hand. Leave long yarn tail. Put a yarn behind it, pinch it with your thumb and a middle finger. Yarn around the hook and put yarns both loops on the hook. Organize it. The yarn is changed. Now we need to work 7 crochets by using the orange yarn. And we'll change yarns in the 7th crochet, change back into the sign yarn. Work a crochet first. Put orange yarn on the hook. A crochet is done. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stop when there are 2 loops on the hook. And we organize these hiding yarns. And then let's take out the sign yarn, put it in this side. Wrap the sign yarn around your left hand. Yarn around the hook and put yarns to both loops on the hook. The yarn is changed. Now we need to work 18 crochets by using the sign yarn. The first crochet, the second, the third, the fourth. 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 14 crochets in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 18 single crochets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 11 is finished. Now let's start making round 12. First, work a chain. In round 12, we need to work 16 single crochets by using the sine yards. We'll change yards into 16 single crochets. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single crochet. The first single crochet is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work the second single crochet. The second single crochet is done, the third single crochet. The fourth single crochet. 4 single crochets are done. Continue work remaining 12 single crochets in the same way. And we'll change yards in the last single crochet. Stop when there are 2 loops on the hook. We will skip the repeated parts. The 16 single crochets stop when there are 2 loops on the hook. Now we'll change yards. Wrap the orange yarn around your left hand. Put a yarn beside. To avoid changing the shape, we can leave long yarn tail in the middle place. Yarn around the hook and put the orange yarn through both loops on the hook. The yarn is changed. Now we need to work 9 single crochets by using the orange yarn. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single crochet. The first single crochet is done. Work the second single crochet. The third single crochet. The fourth single crochet. The fifth single crochet. The sixth single crochet. The seventh single crochet. The eighth single crochet. The ninth single crochet. Now we'll change yards into 9th single crochet. The same as before. Wrap the sine yarn around your left hand. Yarn around the hook and put the sine yarn through both loops on the hook. Drag and organize it. We need to work 17 single crochets by using the sine yards. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single crochet. The first single crochet is done. The second one. The third. The fourth. 4 single crochets are done. Continue work remaining 13 single crochets in the same way. We'll skip the repeated parts. 17 single crochets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 12 is finished. Now let's start making round 13. The same way as the 12th round. Work 16 single crochets by using the sine yards. Then work 9 single crochets by using the orange yards, and then work 17 single crochets by using the sine yards again. We will skip the repeated parts. Round 13 is finished. Now let's start making round 14. First, work a chain. In round 14, we need to work 17 single crochets. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first single crochet. The first single crochet is done. Place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work the second single crochet. The second single crochet is done, the third. The fourth. 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 13 crochets in the same way. And we'll change yarns in the last crochet. That is to change yarns in the 17 crochet. The yarn is changed. Now we need to work 7 crochets by using the orange yarn. Enter the hook into the next stitch, work the first crochet. The first crochet is done, the second one, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh. We'll change yarns in the 7th crochet. The yarn is changed. Now we need to work 18 crochets. Enter the hook in the first stitch, work the first crochet. The first crochet is done, the second crochet, the third, the fourth. 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 14 crochets in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 18 crochets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 14 is finished. Now let's make round 15. The same way as the 14th round. 17 single crochets, 7 orange crochets, and 18 single crochets. We'll skip the repeated parts. Round 15 is finished. Now let's start making round 16. First work a chain. In round 16, we need to work 18 crochets by using the sign yarns. Enter the hook in the first stitch, work the first crochet. A crochet is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Enter the hook in the next stitch, work the second crochet. The second crochet is done, the third one, the fourth. 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 14 crochets in the same way. And change yarns in the last crochet. We'll change yarns in the 18th crochet. The yarn is changed. Now work 5 crochets by using the orange yarn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change yarns in the 5 crochet. Change back into the sign yarns. The yarn is changed. Now we need to work 19 crochets by using the sign yarns. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first crochet. A crochet is done, the second one, the third, the fourth. 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 15 crochets in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 19 crochets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 16 is finished. Now let's start making round 17. First work a chain. In round 17, we need to work 19 crochets by using the sign yarns. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first crochet. A crochet is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work the second crochet. The second crochet is done, the third crochet, the fourth, 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 15 crochets in the same way. We'll change yarns in the last crochet. We'll skip the repeated parts. We'll change yarn in the 19th crochet. The yarn is changed. We need to work 3 crochets by using the orange yarns. 1, 2, 3. We'll change yarn back into side yarn in the 3rd crochet. The yarn is changed. We need to work 20 crochets by using the side yarns. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first crochet. A crochet is down the second one, the third, the fourth. 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 16 crochets in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 20 crochets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 17 is finished. Now let's start making round 18. First, work a chain. In round 18, we need to work 20 crochets by using the side yarns. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first crochet. A crochet is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work the second crochet. The second crochet is done, the third one, the fourth. 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 16 crochets in the same way. We'll change yarn in the last crochet. We'll skip the repeated parts. Change yarns in the 20th crochet. The yarn is changed. Now we need to work a crochet by using the orange yarn. Stop when there are 2 loops on the hook. Now we'll change yarns. The yarn is changed. Cut off the orange yarn. Now we need to work 21 crochet by using the side yarn. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first crochet. A crochet is done. The second crochet. The third. The fourth. After hiding the yarn, organize it. 4 crochets are done. Continue work remaining 17 crochets in the same way. We'll skip the repeated parts. 21 crochets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 18 is finished. Now let's start making round 19. First, work a chain. In round 19, we need to repeat a set of 5 crochets, 1 decrease for 6 times. A decrease means to combine 2 stitches into 1 stitch. The first set. First, work 5 crochets. Instead of hooking the first stitch, work the first crochet. A crochet is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hooking the next stitch, work the second crochet. The second crochet is done, the third crochet. The fourth. The fifth. 5 crochets are done. Then work a decrease. Let's zoom in. This is a stitch. This is the front loop of this stitch. This is the next stitch. This is the front loop of the next stitch. We need to insert a hook in the front loops of the adjacent stitches separately. Now, I will show you. Insert a hook in the front loop of this stitch. Then insert a hook in the front loop of the next stitch. There are 3 loops on the hook. Hook the yarn and pull it through the first 2 loops. There are still 2 loops on the hook. Then hook the yarn and pull it through the last 2 loops. A decrease is done. The first set is done. The second set. First, work 5 crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 crochets are done. Then work a decrease. Insert a hook in the front loops of the adjacent stitches separately. There are 3 loops on the hook. Hook the yarn and pull it through the first 2 loops. There are still 2 loops on the hook. Then hook the yarn and pull it through the last 2 loops. A decrease is done. The second set is done. The third set, work 5 crochets first. Five crochets are done, then work a decrease. Insert a hook in the front loops of the adjacent stitches separately. There are 3 loops on the hook. Hook the yarn and pull it through the first 2 loops. There are still 2 loops on the hook. Then hook the yarn and pull it through the last 2 loops. A decrease is done. The third set is done. Continue work remaining 3 sets in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 6 sets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 19 is finished. Now let's start making round 20. First, work a chain. Now work 2 crochets. Insert a hook in the first stitch, work the first crochet. A crochet is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Insert a hook into the next stitch, work the second crochet. 2 crochets are done, then work a decrease. Insert a hook into front loops of the adjacent stitches separately. There are 3 loops on the hook. Hook the yarn and pull it through the first 2 loops. There are still 2 loops on the hook. Then hook the yarn and pull it through the last 2 loops. A decrease is done. In round 20, we need to repeat a set of 4 crochets, 1 decrease for 5 times. First, work 4 crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 crochets are done, then work a decrease. A decrease is done. The first set is done. The second set, first work 4 crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 crochets are done, then work a decrease. A decrease is done. The second set is done. Continue work remaining 3 sets in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 5 sets are done. Now work 2 single shades. Two single shades are done. Then work a slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 20 is finished. Now let's start making round 21. First, work a chain. In round 21, we need to repeat a set of 3 single shades, 1 decrease for 6 times. The first set, first work 3 single shades. Instead of hook into first stitch, work the first single shade. The first single shade is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Instead of hook into next stitch, work the second single shade. The second single shade is done, the third single shade. 3 single shades are done, then work a decrease. A decrease is done, the first set is done. The second set, first work 3 single shades. 1, 2, 3. 3 single shades are done, then work a decrease. A decrease is done, the second set is done. Continue work remaining 4 sets in the same way. We'll skip the repeated parts. 6 sets are done, now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 21 is finished. Now let's start making round 22. First, work a chain. Insert the hook into first stitch. Work a single shade. The first single shade is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Then work a decrease. A decrease is done. In round 22, we need to repeat a set of 2 single shades, 1 decrease for 5 times. The first set. First, work 2 single shades. 1, 2. 2 single shades are done, then work a decrease. A decrease is done. The first set is done. The second set, first work 2 single shades. Then work a decrease. The second set is done. Continue work remaining 2 sets in the same way. We'll skip the repeated parts. 5 sets are done. Work a single shade. A single shade is done. Now work a slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 22 is finished. Now stuff the filling cotton into the fabric. Into this hole. Stuff the filling cotton as much as possible. Finished. After stuffing the cotton, we'll start making round 23. First, work a chain. In round 23, we need to repeat a set of 1 single shades, 1 decrease for 6 times. The first set. Insert a hook into first stitch, work the first single shade. The first single shade is done, place a marker on the first stitch. Then work a decrease. A decrease is done. The first set is done. The second set, first work a single shade. then work a decrease. The second set is done. Continue work remaining 4 sets in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 6 sets are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 23 is finished. Now let's start making round 24. First, work a chain. In round 24, we need to work 6 decreases. A decrease means to combine 2 stitches into 1 stitch, the first decrease. The first decrease is done. Place a marker on the first stitch. The second decrease. The second decrease is done. Continue work remaining 4 decreases in the same way. We will skip the repeated parts. 6 decreases are done. Now work slip stitch. A slip stitch is done. Round 24 is finished. Leave long yarn tail. Put out the yarn tail. Pass the yarn through the needle. Pass the yarn through the needle. Now we need to pass the needle through the front loops of each stitch of the last round. Now head the yarn tail. Insert needle into here. Then pass it through here. Insert needle into here. Then pass it through here. Like this, back and forth, to fix the yarn inside the fabric. After this, cut off the yarn. Organize the Easter egg. The main body is done. This video tutorial will teach how to make carrot leaf. First, working into a chain. Wrap the yarn around your little finger. Then bring it to your index finger. Pinch the yarn with your thumb and your middle finger. Tie a knot. Put a hook under the yarn. Yarn around the hook counterclockwise. We'll do it again. Put a hook under the yarn. Yarn around the hook counterclockwise. There's 1 loop on the hook. Pinch the yarn with your thumb and your middle finger. Yarn around the hook and put your loop on the hook. Pull it hard. A chain is done. Now let's work round 1. In round 1, we need to work 7 chains. The first chain. Yarn around the hook and put your loop on the hook. Let's zoom in. The V shape is a stitch. This is the front loop of this stitch. Place a marker on it. The second chain, yarn around the hook and put your steel loop on the hook. The third chain, yarn around the hook and put your steel loop on the hook. The fourth chain. The fifth chain. The sixth chain. The seventh chain. 7 chains are done. Now let's skip the first stitch and start crochet from the second stitch. We need to work a slip stitch in here. Insert a hook into the stitch. Hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Hook the first loop and pull it through the second loop. A slip stitch is done. Now let's work a single crochet in each of the 4 chains. Insert a hook into the next stitch. Hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn around the hook and put yarn to both loops on the hook. The first single crochet is done, the second one. Insert a hook into the next stitch. Hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn around the hook and put yarn to both loops on the hook. The second single crochet is done, the third one. Insert a hook into the next stitch. Hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn around the hook and put yarn to both loops on the hook. The third single crochet is done. Now let's work the fourth one. 4 single crochets are done. Now work slip stitch and mark this stitch. Insert a hook into this stitch. Hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Hook the first loop and pull it through the second loop. A slip stitch is done. This set is done. We need to work 3 sets in total. Then the second set. First work 7 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 chains are done. Now work slip stitch in the second chain. Insert a hook into this stitch. Hook the yarn and pull up a loop. There are 2 loops on the hook. Hook the first loop and pull it through the second loop. A slip stitch is done. Now let's work a single crochet in each of the 4 chains. The first single crochet. The second single crochet. The third single crochet. The fourth single crochet. 4 single crochets are done. Now work slip stitch in the next stitch. A slip stitch is done. The second set is done. Then the third set. First work 7 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 chains are done. Now work slip stitch in the next stitch. A slip stitch is done. Now let's work single crochet in each of the 4 chains. The first single crochet. The second. The third. The fourth. 4 single crochets are done. Now work slip stitch in the next stitch. A slip stitch is done. The third set is done. Now let's pull out the yarn. Leave long yarn tail to sew up. Cut off the yarn. Put out the yarn tail. Organize it. The green leaf is done. Now let's sew the leaf into the main body. The leaves are sewed in round 10 and 11, which is in here. This is the front side. The front side is faced to the outside, don't mistake it. Through this stitch. Skip an orange stitch, and then through this stitch. Through like this. Then through the leaf again. Put it tight. Through another stitch of the main body. Through the leaf again. Remember to pull it hard. And pass back through the main body again. Now head is yarn tail. Cut off the yarn. Hide this yarn as well. Pass the yarn through the needle, and pass the needle through here. Hide the yarn. After hiding, cut it off. Organize it. Now let's sew the pattern of the carrot egg by using the black yarn. You can change the patterns according to your own preference. Leave part of yarn tail. The patterns are done. Now hide the yarn tail. The same way as before. Cut off the yarn. Pass the yarn through the needle. Hide the yarn tail as well. Cut off the yarn. The carrot Easter egg is done.